The New Testament verse in James chapter 1, verse 19 says, "Everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry." That one's easier said than done. Earlier in my career, I was in a work situation where there was quite a bit of tension there at the workplace. And a professional coach from the outside was brought in to make sense of it and to hopefully fix it. Now, as an employee, I had sensed the tension like others had, and when the professional interviewed me, something completely unexpected happened. After only 10 minutes of the pro asking me questions, intently listening, and then leaving, before any change was ever made in that work environment, I physically felt like a 100-pound weight was lifted from my shoulders, and then I realized that's the first time anyone's ever asked for my opinion or asked how I was feeling about the situation and then actually took the time to listen. Not only did I feel physically lighter and more excited about my job, but I felt like making that listener my new best friend. Now, have you ever been in that kind of situation where you felt like you weren't being heard, whether it was in the workplace, at home, at church, or with friends? Maybe you felt like people didn't want to take the time to listen or didn't seem to have the interest in listening. Or maybe they started listening, but you felt like they were anxiously waiting for you to stop so they could tell you what you should be feeling or saying. Now, my intent this week is not to stir up the bad feelings you've experienced from that, nor is it to even help you cope with feeling ignored. Instead, in light of celebrating others, my hope is to help us all never be the cause of someone else feeling ignored. You see, something very surprising happened to me this week as I was preparing for this topic. I actually always prided myself in being a very good listener. I was sure this post was going to be an easy one for me. But with the heightened awareness of the whole listening topic, as I interacted with people I really care about this week, I noticed that at work, in just 1 week, I interrupted 3 people while they were talking to me, that I probably didn't come across as being very open to hearing an opposing view from a coworker about a new system I wanted to implement, and to top it off, at home, before my husband had even finished his non-funny sentence in a more serious topic, I inappropriately laughed because I had stuck a peek at my phone to see a funny comment on Facebook while he was talking to me. So this is my first tip today, and if you don't hear anything else, hear this one thing that I'm saying to myself as well, and I'm kind of scared to say it, but here goes. You're probably not as good as you think you are when it comes to listening. Just like many of the first-round tone-deaf contestants on American Idol are so sure they can sing, I think we all tend to think we're better at listening than we really are. And that kind of makes sense because in listening, we're fighting against our selfish nature that makes us want to speak our own thoughts rather than listen to someone else express his or hers. It takes great humility to fully listen to others, and that same humility is needed to remember we haven't arrived yet and that we can always become better listeners. Can you imagine if instead of singing contests or other talent contests, there were listening contests where judges would watch you listen to someone talking and judge you on your listening techniques? If they did, what would they look for? I share some valuable do and don't listening techniques on my website. Oh, I encourage you to go there and not only soak it in, but also to leave in the comments which one is the most valuable technique for you. And please also feel free to share in the comments some great listening techniques of your own. Yes, do it! I don't really enjoy listening to crickets chirping. I want to hear from you. But I'll leave you with these 3 questions to ask yourself throughout the week. Number 1, what if I'm not as good of a listener as I thought I was? Number 2, how could it positively affect the people around me if I became a better listener? And number 3, what's one technique I could start implementing today as I grow as a listener? Friends, thank you so much for listening to me, and have a great listening week.